The Apple Company. Why is it called Apple? At the time in the 80s, Steve Jobs was visiting an apple orchard while on a fruitarian diet, and he was inspired. He thought the word apple was not intimidating, it was friendly, and a fun little boost alongside that. Their main competitor, Atari, the word apple comes ahead of Atari in the dictionary. So whatever English thing they were doing, if you go in alphabetical order, Apple would come up first. And that meant a lot to them for whatever reason. But today we have an Apple. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty exhausted. I just got back from doing 211 pounds on bench. And usually I go very slowly. I just picked that up from a bunch of weightlifters I trust. They say it helps build your muscles. They help build the size of your muscles. If you go fast, if you go with a burst of energy, then that gains your strength. But mainly, I'm more so going for the aesthetic, not just pure strength. But I was still very surprised to actually do 211 pounds on bench. It was crazy for me, and it hurt my back a little bit, so I'm going to my chiropractor tomorrow. And my dad just made sloppy joes. He was eating applesauce, not with sloppy joes, but with something else he was eating. But just like with oranges, if you crush it up into little juices, you can transform this into other kinds of edible things. With strawberries, you can use whatever ingredients are in there, whatever materials, and use that to make antidotes for people, medicinal purposes. Apple juice too, that's fantastic. Growing up, I remember must have been sometime in preschool or first or second grade, we knew adults drank beer. We thought that was disgusting. It was like the most deplorable thing you could possibly do, but all the adults drank it. They would just shy away from admitting it because you don't want the youth knowing that you give into this vice and that is totally fine. So you kind of keep hush-hush about it, which I totally get. But we knew what it looked like generally. Heineken, was a orange liquid, had little sparkles on top. It was carbonated. And maybe it wasn't, there was no way it was preschool, but maybe second to fourth grade. We drank apple juice and pretended to be drunk in class. Nobody stopped us. It was just really funny. Now that I've had alcohol, I don't do that. I don't drink apple juice and pretend to be drunk, but that'd be kind of funny. Those guys who pretend to get drunk or pretend to feel the effects of whatever they're doing, you don't even need to do that. You could just take it as needed, and then you'll really experience it. But I get why you would want to fake it. I totally understand, but just don't do that. The whole point of you going out is to have a good time, get away from your priorities for a little bit, hang out with people you care about. There's no reason to fake that. There's no reason to fake yourself, fake what you enjoy and don't like, when the whole purpose of you going out to enjoy yourself, it's not your true authentic self. And I kind of got fumbled up in my wordplay there for a second, but you defeat the whole purpose of going out to enjoy yourself if you're going to fake it. You know what I mean? There might be some situations where you'll have to. I'm thinking more so about that now. When I enter the business world, you might have to laugh at some really bad jokes so you can get on this one really important guy's good side. You know what I mean? I had a planning interview. I'm majoring in urban planning. I had to interview this one planner today for my class. just to get a background on what they do in the communities, she works on low-income housing. She works with the municipalities, does a lot of public engagement, gauging what the public's wants and needs are, and trying to find the perfect balance between public needs and what's realistically possible with urban planning. And then planners take what they think is realistically possible, and they say, is this thing actually structurally sound? Is this possible to do? And then you go to the lawyers. Is this thing even legally possible to do? But anyway, I was talking to this lady on the interview on Zoom today, and I don't fake nothing, but maybe I should have, because that would have made a way better impression. That's just the working environment, right? Like the receptionists are always like really like uppity, always in a good mood, willing to talk, but some days they aren't. And if one days you notice that they aren't holding up that same energy that they have, maybe it's fine, man. But some days maybe not. Like if some big dog came in, he owns like a bunch of factories in some town nearby, and you really want to get in this guy's good side because you want to get some of that money. You got to make sure everybody is kissing his feet. You know what I mean? It's too bad. People run the world. It's better that people run the world than aliens. You know what I mean? So it could always be worse. And apples, this is a red delicious. Just recently, I realized that the MacBooks, Apple makes them. Why are they called MacBooks? You got Lenovo laptops. Never get those. I know someone who did, YOLO Tyler. You got fucked over. I'm sorry. It worked well for him for a while, but my experience growing up, do you hear this, by the way? I never tested that out. The Lenovo laptop I had growing up, there was no problems with it for the first 6 months. The battery life was okay, but rapidly, it could barely run very minimal games on my laptop. It's an embarrassing thing to admit nowadays, but I was big into Undertale, and it could barely do that, and that's like an 8-bit game. How could a modern day laptop not be able to run that kind of thing? It's insane. But MacBooks, Macintosh, Apples. Also recently, you know why they call the rainbow effect keyboards, the RGB keyboards, red, blue, and green? Bro, it shifts through red, blue, and green. RGB? Yeah, red, green, and blue. That's the one. Why does nobody tell you these things? You don't know until someone tells you. So if it takes you 20, 30 years to find out about like something that's very common knowledge, you can poke fun at yourself like, wow, how did I not know that RGB stood for red, green, and blue on the keyboards? But I don't know. It's really, really important to be educated, especially when you step into the arena of the professional world. Everyone conducts himself very properly. They're just full of information, and they can just fluently convey all these ideas and bring in all these big terms and big things happening around in the world, and use all those thoughts and ideas and give it some purpose. I'm having a hard time bringing this all together. I guess just connecting all of these different thoughts and ideas and conveying them properly. in the field that you specialize in. Because that's what I want to be able to do in terms of planning. I talked about this last time. I've digested so much information just in this past semester. No chat GPT. Could you imagine that in a world where kids are rotting away on their phones and their teacher asks them like, how was their weekend? And then they ask chat GPT, what should I say? It's like, that's totally personal. But I've realized that the whole purpose of going to college is to actually get smarter. It's like high school too, but you have a second chance, and you wouldn't go to college unless you're really committing to this one career that you want to pursue. And you don't need to pick it right away, but you got to start formulating some ideas about what you think you're going to be passionate doing for a long period of time. It sort of sucks knowing that you won't have any flexibility. You're kind of training yourself down into this one arena, but I think planning, and I might get a minor in planning and then a master in architecture at a different school at a later date. But who knows? But we got to talk about apples. But seriously, there's been so many things that I try to let's see. There's been so many lines of thinking that I've just totally abandoned, going on these crazy tangents that I've just started up in the last couple of videos and just totally forgot about. What happens if you ate an apple every single day? Nothing but apples. You just kept eating them and eating them, hoping to get some satiation from nothing but this alone. I read a book in middle school. Yesterday I got all sidetracked talking about AI and shit. But I don't know what it was called, but if you summarize what I'm about to say into a chat GPT, it can look it up for you. Let's see. There was this one kid. He found a pair of shoes in the ground. Apparently, some really famous guy dropped them. And some fourth grader picked them up. And the guy whose shoes that they were hollered at him, called the cops on him, and got this kid arrested. He was like 10 to 12 years old. Just for that one crime. It wasn't even a crime. It was a total misunderstanding. And the kid was probably just curious. Sorry, I'm like, dude, today was a rough day. That PR kind of killed me. But this kid went to a juvenile detention center somewhere in the desert. And obviously it sucked. They made the kids dig holes all day and like plant turnips or something. About near the end of the story, he escaped the prison with one of the other kids. And the chapters devolved into nothing but these kids out in the desert. They're thirsty, they're dehydrated, they're exhausted, and they eat nothing but turnips. Apparently, turnips hold a lot of water in them, so they can stay a little hydrated. But nothing bad really happened to them. They just went back to the prison 2 months later. They documented every single day about how life was out there, how they would just eat turnips, how they would dig into the ground, far into the ground to get turnips. Maybe there were some details about how it affected their bodies, but there's this one Minecraft mod where if you eat the same food a couple days in a row, then you get some negative effects. So maybe there's something that no one's telling me about. But 14 minutes, baby. What else did I miss? Because I missed so much last time. So if you ate apples, nothing but apples, how long could you do that for until you die? I don't think you would die of old age. Something bad would happen to you. But apples retain some kind of liquid in them. If you squish them up, you get apple juice. And that's pretty healthy, I think. Apple juice from ShopRite has a lot of sugars in them. Apples might have sugars in them, but actually I don't think so. When I had my rabbit, he ate carrots, but we couldn't give him too much because there was too many sugars in him. We could just throw a whole apple in there and then there was no problem. So I don't think, because I definitely researched that at some point just to make sure that it was okay that I do that. And it took him several days to slowly carve around the apple. He would miss the core because he didn't want all those seeds. And there's cyanide in those seeds, which is wild. But it would take him so long to just dig around this tiny little thing that I can eat in one day. In 1 minute, probably. There's some car pulling up in here. It's like 6 p.m. on Monday. And it's pouring out. It's going to start really pouring in about a half hour. So I hope this microphone can still hear me once it, gets real bad out. Let's pick it up now. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the rabbit just totally destroyed this thing. Who is that guy? He has tennis equipment, and it's just him. I guess he's doing wall ball. I mean, the rain's gonna mess up with the aerodynamics of the ball, so that might not be a good idea. But speaking of athletic stuff, you know those things that, not circuses, like, I guess town fairs, or maybe you would see them at the boardwalk. There was this container full of water and a bunch of apples floating around in them. And people would put blindfolds on you. I think they would tie your hands behind your back too, and then you had to go dig in there and get the apple. That's the strangest thing. That makes no sense. What's the point of that? Would you even get a prize, or would you just get would you get the applause of many and then feel satisfied that you did that one random, really weird thing? Like, how did that even start out to be? Like, I don't think I could realistically do that. Well, maybe I could. I guess you got to grind your teeth into it. But when it's moving around on the waves and you try to put pressure on it, you'll likely sink it down into the water, and then you might waterboard yourself. And now, speaking of water, I think it was Japanese water torture. Japanese water torture? It was somewhere in Asia. They definitely did this thing. It's where nothing brutal. Medieval times, they got the Iron Maidens. They got very, very horrible ways of torturing and killing people. But those guys in Asia, they'll break your mind first. Every 5 to 7 seconds, intermittently, a drop of water. Let's say I'm stuck in this position. A drop of water from a high distance onto my head. Very easy setup. All you got to do is tie me down and then let the water start going. If I don't like that, for whatever reason, I could just move my head around, because it's far more shocking than you think, especially because you're likely very frazzled up. If something very subtle but also very sudden happens, like a water dropping on your head, it's gonna stop your train of thought. It's gonna really piss you off. And I experienced this firsthand in the shower, especially at college. We don't pay the water bill, the electric bill, so I can just take as much time as I need in there. So sometimes I just stand around, just like I do with the apple. I just toss things around and think about stuff. We all do it. We call them shower thoughts. I likely thought about making these videos in the shower at college. Also, my phone is positioned in between my wheels, so that's why you can see this happen. That's a really cool effect. Oh my God. It's a really cool effect. But yeah, in the shower, water shoots out from the water head, but some of it gets caught and gets collected on the sides of the shower head, and it moves all the way down to the bottom, and then intermittently it drops down. It's really, really annoying, especially if you don't realize it. Then you'll have no idea that it's actually happening, especially if you're deep in thought, like when you get shower thoughts. But the second I notice it, I can't not notice it. And then trying to get the timing right in my head, you can never do it. It's inconsistent. Something so subtle and it's not even non-threatening, it messes with your brain in such weird ways that you just can't stop. You can't, it's like 5 to 7 seconds. You can't do much in that much amount of time. It's going to fuck you up. That's what I'm trying to say. Something water torture. Also Apple. I thought today I was going to look up, like, because I have this little gong in my my room I got for Christmas, like when I was in 8th grade. I thought it would have some crazy potential for something. I never used it, like, at all. I brought it to my dorm room last year in the spring. I made a joke like, if you got to get up, I'll ring the gong. I never did it, but it was a funny thing. But that's just absolutely silly, and the concept of these videos alone are silly enough, so I'll just leave it be. But on the note of props, I have one prop here. I'll talk about, maybe I can do it right now. Maybe there's no problem doing that. Maybe I should do that. I'm not ready for it. Maybe you're never ready for it. It's all in your head. It's not about being ready. It's about performing. You know what I mean? And what if your performance is totally freestyle? I skimmed through the content of this thing over here that you can't see. If I read too deeply into it, I wouldn't get a kick out of it myself reading it. And maybe that's more valuable than if I didn't. Maybe. I don't know, man. Apples. Someone brought up to me, it was a very good idea. However, the motivating factor for me making these videos is some schizophrenic comedian. So if I do more silly things inside of this, then I think we'll just lose the plot. Someone gave me a good idea. They said, what if you characterize the object of conversation, the subject? It needs to constantly relate to this thing. I could have a few tangential removals from the subject. However, I get lost. What if I made a character arc about this thing? Like Andrew the Apple, and he was an anthropologist. Or architect, how about that? Andrew. Because I just recently met at Andrew last year on a travel abroad trip to Asia. And it turns out, like on the second to last day that we were there, that he has known one of my closest friends from middle school. How does that even happen? That's absolutely insane. And we just, oh my God. I just couldn't believe that. But if I start characterizing this thing and talking to it like it's alive, then it'll be like that one movie where the one guy gets abandoned on the island and then he starts drawing faces on coconuts and he loses his goddamn mind thinking that these things are alive. Like he's coping really hard. And this thing is difficult enough. If I start doing that, I'll go off the goddamn rails. But I guess we could try that because that does sound pretty fun, to be fair. I just can't like position it up for you guys, but I could draw a face on him with a knife. But maybe that's doing too much. That's what I'm worried about. So maybe I'll change my mind, but I just want to recognize that if anyone else had that, I guess that option, the option's still open, but I'm not going to commit to it yet because I'm not schizophrenic yet. But I'm locked in this one place, like those guys in a straitjacket. It's not too bad though, because I got food and water. And I got a prop. I think now's the time. So, this relates to apples. Because it relates to iPhones that are made by the Apple company. I didn't even figure this whole thing out. I looked up on Google, how do I disable incoming calls for iPhones? And the first thing that came up was a stream of Reddit people. You know, someone asked a question in a community, and then people reply, and it gets pretty deviated from the central question. Especially on Reddit. I feel like you know what you're getting yourself into before you open up that app. You know that those people are probably not the best people to be hanging around with. So maybe you should stop going on Reddit. Just like I stopped playing Clash Royale. I got so much more free time on my hand. Instead of doing that, Clash Royale, I'm doing this. And this is just temporary, bro. And maybe it'll help me able to convey my thoughts better. Maybe. You never know. But I never actually disabled incoming calls. So if somebody calls during this recording, I don't know what's going to happen. This could easily just shut this whole thing off, and then I'll have to combine everything into little clips again like I feared, because that would take an unnecessary amount of time to put together for something so simple, you know what I mean? And not too unlike lack of preparation, this is the third time I have forgotten to get the AirTag synced up with my phone and put it into my car. Also, apples are red, green, and yellow. Before I get into this Reddit thing, maybe it isn't time. I went apple picking with my brother, my cousins, my mom, and aunts and uncles to this apple orchard. It's about 40 or 50 minutes away. I used to love going to that place because once a year we always went apple picking and pumpkin picking. Pumpkin picking fell off faster than apple picking. We just like climbing trees and breaking all of the rules because they were just like, when you're a kid, you want to push the limits as far as possible, and it's harmless to begin with, you know what I mean? In some ways, you could be roughing up more apples than needed, but it's just great to get outside and do something like that, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Apples. I'm too old for that kind of stuff now, and so are my cousins. Even when I got too old enough to enjoy it, I still liked being there because I can see that they still enjoyed it. I guess that's why my aunts and my mom still like doing that, you know? It's like, oh, look at these people. They're having a good time climbing trees and stuff. Yeah, but this AirTag, I really gotta do that. I got an AirTag in my wallet, so if I ever drop it or someone steals it, I got you, man. You're not getting away from me. And I was thinking of doing it to my AirPod case, and there's a way to do it. There's a special case that, and this all relates because they're all Apple products. Thank God. I just found this out last night, bro. I could just keep talking about Apple products That's why the Apple is like one of the easiest things possible. Look at that. But just for a second, this looks nothing like this, unless you really just ate a big piece off of this right side here. And the Apple stems obviously don't just disappear near the bottom and then reappear again. That's just a design choice. The logos of big businesses have been getting simpler and simpler to make them more recognizable to the public. That's very smart. Like the Firefox logo especially. It's a red fox like curled up against the moon, and now it's just like a red paintbrush and then a blue thing. They just killed off the fox, and then the moon, I guess, has been squished into powder. Now it's just flying through space. It's more artistic now, though, to be fair. It's more of a abstract art piece. Speaking of abstract art, though, who's that one guy that he's alive today? He just like throws paint on the board and then gets $20,000. What if I did that? No one would pay me shit. How can he do it and I can't? Does he just have that vision? Is what he makes far more interesting than what I can do? He just does this, and then that's better than me doing this. I don't get it. Okay, what if, for a second, maybe you, think about yourself for a second. This artist, he makes abstract art. He does something that you can easily do yourself, but you don't have his artistic experience to mimic his movements and thoughts and ideas as he's throwing the paint around as you would have. However, abstract art is really easy to make. Anyone can do it. You give a 2-month-old a pencil, they're going to make some abstract art. I think if anybody did some random stuff on a piece of paper, throw some paint on there, maybe some charcoal, pencils, whatever, and they publish that under this high-profile professional abstract artist, people would buy it, thinking that it's really, really beautifully designed. What a piece. Because it's under this one professional's name. Think about that. Apple. People like apples. Commonly loved and adored by maybe billions of people. I think hundreds of millions is more likely. Because I'm not actually that big into apples. The farthest I would go. Oh, shoot. Oh, man, I should have brought that on peeler. Because I hate eating it off the side like that. That's why I don't like apples. As far as I would go, like the last time I ate an apple, I was at a friend's place. I was starving. I was desperate. They didn't have any food besides an apple. And I guess like another fruit or two, but I wasn't that interested in that kind of stuff. I was thinking a little more creatively. I remember some teacher taught us this because she gave us apple slices with peanut butter. She said it was like the easiest snack you can make at home. I'm sure your parents have peanut butter. Apples are easy to get. If you ever want to combine two decent things together and make something really good that's healthy for you, make apple slices with peanut butter. And that's what I do. I only had it once when I was really desperate, and that must have been more than a year ago. Before that, it must have been a far longer time than that. Maybe like early high school when I ate the lunch food. They gave out apple slices in these really, really tiny bags. There was like 3 or 4 max in those tiny bags. Like, why would you just package that small amount? Quit being greedy, bro. What was I thinking about? Oh, man, I keep losing my train of thought. Apple, abstract art, iPhone. Oh, the AirPod case and the AirTag. I found these cases online. They wrap around the case and have a little the tiniest container that can hold an AirTag. So if I ever go to the gym, I throw all my stuff on the floor at whatever station I'm at, you know. Sometimes I forget them there. There's been more than one occasion where I would leave the gym and my phone and my AirPods would just still be on the floor. And some guy could just go over there and throw weight on it and then my life would be done. Thousands of dollars, maybe not thousands, but a lot of money. A lot of personal information is on this thing. If I don't have music for one day, I might just crash out. I'd be finished. If I had an AirTag on it, that'd be far better. But if you lose your phone, then you're pretty much done because that's like your lifeline. Like we need phones nowadays to do anything. It's like living life without a leg if you don't have a phone. If you can't easily make contact with these people that you need to make contact with. Everything's long distance now. "36 minutes. And apples. Apple slices. That dumb apple game where you put your head into a thing of water. What do you think? My hair's chopped cheese today. Oh, I'm taking a break tomorrow. I need a day off. Today was a whole lot of energy. I got to go to my chiropractor tomorrow. I might have messed up my back, my left back. I got a scoliosis. It's whatever. It's not that bad of a problem. Every person you know has their own issues. And I got to catch up on some work because I've actually been going out far more than I expected. Like I had a really busy morning, midday, which this is a part of. And right after this, I'm going to be late to meet up with my friend. Like the second this thing is done, I'm going to go right over there and we might get some food or something, but it's going to be a busy week too. And it's all from different groups. It's like insane how life works out that way. I haven't even been thinking about it. I know how to schedule my classes, when I got to get my work done, free time, fun time, and self-improvement time. And that's incredibly difficult to make happen. Imagine having a kid and doing all that shit. How do people do that? That makes no sense. And I'm really getting exhausted, man. But the fruits of my labor, apples. It's almost the same color as that strawberry. Instead of there being white on the top, there's green. A yellowish green on the camera, though it looks far more green in person. And it's kind of crazy too, because I only like eating apples with peanut butter. When it's just the apple from the tree by itself, I gotta peel off the skin from it, or I'm not gonna like it, because that stuff sticks in your mouth and in your teeth, and it's like that taste doesn't go away. I'm not a big fan of it. But yeah, me, apple, peanut butter. Also pen, pineapple, apple pen. That didn't make any sense. The annoying orange, hey apple, and then the knife. That makes more sense because that actually happens. Pen, pineapple, apple pen. Pen, pineapple, pen, pineapple, then an apple, and then another pen. That guy, I don't think he is a fluent English speaker. But I do think he understands what that means. Do you think he just crafted the most satisfying words to say in that order? And that's why that song became so popular? Pen, pineapple, apple pen. Pen, pineapple, apple. You say apple twice in a row, but you don't realize it. And then it starts and ends with pen. Like that guy must be a genius. Like that abstract artist is no good. But the guy who made that pen, pineapple, apple pen song is really creative. Because this, many years after it released, I still just Can't get it off my mind. Onision made that I'm a Banana song before we realized that he was a really, really crazy abuser. And overall, just not someone you want to sit down and watch. Just a sad thing. Pen, pineapple, apple pen. The annoying orange is pretty dramatic. It's pretty freaky if you think about it. I think Sausage Party just totally ripped off that whole idea of fruits being alive and then people eating fruits, so they just brutally murder them in these really creative ways. A cheese grater. Like, that's horrific. Happening to something that's alive. That's really bad, man. Don't even imagine that. That's actually horrific. I just rapid fired so many ideas. I forgot what I was talking about originally. I can't be too fried today if I'm like not worried about time that much. First time I dropped the apple. But just like the orange, bro, it's got a shell. It's not too bad. Just my main fear is that I want to come into this with like somewhat high spirits because I'm going to get exhausted, and I much rather be here when I'm naturally in a better mood. I love starting these up and then getting into a good mood because I get into a good rhythm, and then I adjust really well, come up with new ideas on the spot that I never would have thought of if I was just sitting in my room by myself, imagining it happening. You learn through practicing, you know? But I don't know, man. Like, I'm taking off tomorrow. And hopefully, because after tomorrow's Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, my clothes from the Banana Republic will show up. And then I can do that banana video finally. And then do some research on it. But for apples, why does peanut butter taste so good with these? With whatever it tastes like. Also, I might just start eating this thing at 50. I could like choppily take off the skin with this thing. I might have to. Yeah. Because who here just eats this thing right like that? Like, if you do, I think I understand it. But personally, it's not for me. And even if I like the taste of it, I wouldn't like these little skin flakes stuck in the middle of my teeth. So I brush my teeth every day now. There's no question about that. But some days I would miss flossing. When I went to my dentist last year, they told me, we can tell that you're brushing, but you're not flossing. And I was like, how could you possibly know that by looking at my teeth? She said, the front and the back, in every single line of your teeth, they're totally fine. No cavities to be seen there. It's deep in the middle of your teeth where the cavities are. Because the gunk that you get caught up in there, the floss gets that out. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. So even if I brush thoroughly every single day, I should be flossing every single day too. And she said, yep. Learning more about that motivated me to floss every day, more so than I tried to before, but actually pursue it and care more about it. Hygiene is very important. Look at my teeth. They're all yellow. It's because I barely brushed them when I was younger, which is nasty, but I'm trying to get my get back. Anything's possible, man. There's all these products now that you can just use as a little cheat code to get there quick. I know some people like, I don't know what they're called, but like there's some kind of product where you put a layer over your teeth and that like leaves a white layer over your teeth. So it blocks out the yellow and then it's like you got really shiny, clean teeth, but that's not the case. Or maybe it transitions your yellow teeth into white teeth, healthily and naturally. So he's playing wall tennis too? This guy? It's like he's doing a drive-by. He just came in and came out. Wild. What did I drop? The AirTag? What is this? Oh, the Boer microphone. Instruction manual. I dropped the apple. It's right here. I guess I could start peeling now. I got this gum I gotta spit out. But I like chewing the gum a lot. Is he coming back? What the hell? Oh no, it's someone different, but is it? Okay, whatever, dude. He's not getting this apple, that's for sure. I hope it helps with my throat. I think because I'm trying to create a good audio during this video, I really try to emphasize it more. That's why I become so hoarse so fast. And I haven't drinking water yet. Like, that's why I get it, but I get so locked in, I forget to, like, take my time, you know? There's no rush. And that helps a bit, but it would have been way better if I drank water intermittently before it got as dry as a desert. Because now it's got to rain more to compensate for all the dead grass. Ugh. Because there's some juices in here. Is there enough to make whatever's going on in here better? I really hope so. But before we get to that, what else can I possibly talk about? Oh, I got this. I already showed you this, man. This thing. Or maybe I didn't, bro. Let's see. Andrew, Apple, the architect. Andrew, apple, red. Why are apples different colors? He's calling me. I'm just going to ignore that. I'm hoping you can still hear me. Oh no, this ruins the whole thing. What time is it, actually? Let's see. I can't check. Oh, god damn it. Whatever. He's just got to wait like 13 more minutes, 12. Okay, maybe I'll just get to it now. Like, I barely had any time today to do anything. I just got these things I want to do. I'll just do them really quickly. I'm not going to make them wait for too long. Oh, this is going to be horrible. How do you even start doing this? Apple. Andrew the apple is getting chopped up by Lapis Lord 45. How has it come to this? Whatever. I'll do the knife. Ah! Got it. I was thinking of shaving the whole thing around and around. That would have taken so much time for no reason. Here's the cross section. Looks kind of nasty. Well, now that I did that, I didn't expect it to happen so fast. When's the last time you guys had an apple? This is a fourth of it, cut in half. It looks more yellow on camera than in real life, but it's still a bit yellow. I can turn this light on and show you more detail, I think. There's some seeds sticking out. There's actually one behind this layer here. She's hiding in there. The Reddit story. I forgot about that. Okay, get this. Just like my friend just called right now. I hope to God you can still hear me. How do I disable incoming calls? I'm absolutely sick. This is actually, no. This is on r/iPhone by Philly 0 and 3. How do I disable all incoming calls, not just silent them? This one's silented on my phone. It's on DND, do not disturb. I want people to know I'm not available with having to apply multiple settings in different places or delete apps. Activating airplane mode in DND does nothing at all. So what's even the point? That's what I worried about. I thought D&D would just totally cancel it out, but obviously it doesn't work that way. And I didn't think about airplane mode, but that's a great idea. Because not just by turning off your Wi-Fi and network, that like cancels out everything, but they still take calls. And maybe not with iPhone, but I heard with some phone model, if you call them and they're on D&D, the person who has D&D on, you try to call them, you'll get the option, this person has do not disturb on. Would you still want to call them anyways? So you just totally bypass them. You ruin the whole point of them wanting privacy. And you're breaching their privacy. Why would you get the option to do that? I don't get it, man. But Richard said the only way to stop incoming phone calls is to not have a phone. But get this one, because this is why you should never go to Reddit for advice. You only read it from other people. I think that's just a common rule of thumb at this point. Philly, oh, wait a minute. Philly 0 and 3. I didn't realize this at first, but the guy who asked the question is Philly 0 and 3. And he responded to Richard, who said, don't have a phone, duh. I thought some random guy made this big nasty comment, but it was the main guy who made the post. He got really, really defensive and aggressive about it. You may as well not have commented anything, and you clearly grasped the goal here. Let's spell out the obvious, and maybe a little context will help your neurons fire. I'm a lecturer who uses my phone for presentations, while convenient, but constantly interrupted by incoming calls I cannot disable. This does actually mean I need to use the phone whilst not receiving incoming calls. Hence, the phone cannot be switched off. Duh. As I said, this is a common feature that used to be normal without having to switch off your phone. Hence the feature call forwarding. But common sense isn't so common nowadays. I just thought that was interesting. Because now you can just ask ChatGPT stuff and no one's getting educated. Is my camera getting worse or is it just the stupid lighting? Because yellow doesn't look that good on me. Where are the apples? Here they are. I gotta research how to describe this taste. Oranges are tangy. They're right in your face. It's very strong, the sensations you get from oranges. But I couldn't describe strawberries, now I can't describe apples. Like it's faintly sweet, but it's far more than just being sweet. I can't believe that guy. He's a grown adult. He's a lecturer. I'm assuming for a college class unless he's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do. In the amount of effort he put into making this comment, he could have easily found out the answer by just looking it up through some forum or some website, maybe the Apple website. I just can't believe it. Because it's so negative. And Richard even said, like, he gave so much context as to why there's no way to stop incoming calls. So, just think about that. But honestly, these aren't so bad. It's just when you take a little bite of the peel, then it, not the peel, the skin, then it kind of ruins it for me. But it's not a total deal breaker. I was thinking of getting peanuts too, but I felt like that would be not being very authentic when it comes to it all being about the apple. I feel like that's just an appetizer that enhances the pure apple. And that's mainly what this whole thing's about. But maybe not, man. I could have just like had half of the apple with the peanut butter and then half of it just by its own, so we can tell the difference. It's like whoever made Reese's Pieces or Reese's Pieces, whatever you say. That's actually hotly debated. It's like Adidas and Adidas. That's hotly debated how you pronounce that. But whoever made up the idea to put peanuts and chocolate together was a goddamn genius. Very, very smart. How about apples, peanuts, and peanut butter and chocolate? That might be a great idea. That might be a great idea. So apples and chocolate both work well with peanut butter. But would apples and chocolate work well together? Do they? So people make chocolate-covered apples, but I never really liked them because under the chocolate layer there'd be the apple skin. Oh my God, I'm burping a lot today. I don't know. Maybe someone at home could try that. But I hope this camera quality isn't like really, really bad because it's getting dark out and the only light I have is the fading sunlight and my own face when I zoom in because I'm really white. But next time, it's going to be 2 days. It's going to be a banana, but it may not be. If my clothes come in, then we do the banana. But until then, it's going to be something totally random. Something maybe something I never even spoken about once in this episode in the past two. Maybe something you never even thought of before. Because there's a lot of things I found out recently that are in the fruit family that I never would have imagined otherwise. A lot of grapes that I thought, a lot of things that are fruits that I thought would be grapes. Or not grapes. What do you call those things? Nuts? Berries? Like pretty much all those kinds of healthy stuff you find around the planet. They're fruits. Okay. I think me and my friend we're gonna go to Dave's Hot Chicken. I just went there last night. But I'm not really against that because I love Dave's Hot Chicken. I used to get it almost every day. Not every day, almost every week in high school. And try to scale up on that spice-o-meter. The highest I got was super hot. And that's one below the Reaper. And I would eat that whole sandwich. and survive. But later that day, I'd be in the bathroom for a long time. But I stopped working on it. And I moved all the way back down to medium. So maybe tonight I'll do hot. It stopped at 21 seconds because that's a good number. Have a good day, guys.